Hello everybody, welcome back to my workshop, welcome back to my garage. First off, what I'd like to say is a big thank you to everybody that went to the Great Guitar Build-Off page and participated in voting on that. It was a great event. So I didn't win, but I didn't expect to, but I did get over 190 votes, which was very surprising. So again, thank you very much for everybody that took time to watch the videos, that took time to go to the website. I really appreciate it. It was such a great event. A lot of people entered this year, made some good connections, built some nice relationships, and that's what it's all about. It's not about who wins in the end, it's about building the community and moving forward from there. So what I'd like to talk to you about next is what my next project is. And it's going to be actually 2 guitar builds at the same time. I am taking off of my Great Guitar Build-Off body style. So this is going to be the body style. And but it's going to have a little bit of differences with it than what my Great Guitar Build-Off did. My Great Guitar Build-Off was a kit from Crimson, but what I've done this time is this is going to be a complete scratch build. And I'm doing 2 guitars at the same time. The bodies, I'm using Black Limba for the bodies. I've already glued up the body blanks. One of these guitars is going to a good friend of mine just to get an honest review of the guitar. To see what he thinks and see what it is moving forward. This is hopefully going to be the first ones that I brand with my Bar T custom guitars that I'll be starting to make. And then here's the other body blank, slightly more figured and a better grain pattern. But those are glued up. I'll be looking at probably getting these put on the template and cut out within the next day or two. For the neck blanks, it's 3 pieces of maple with walnut strips in between. So the necks will be made out of these. Again, before I do anything with these, I'll be cutting the truss rod in before I cut the neck shape out. That way I have a nice smooth surface and a nice straight surface to cut the truss rod on. But the real joy of these guitars is going to be what's in the top of them. So what I've got is a couple just very beautiful pieces of wood from Kimball Hardwoods. So a beautiful quilt maple top for one of them, and the second one is deemed like a blister maple. It's kind of a quilt with a little bit of flame in it that's going to be really nice on the other one. So that's what I've got in store moving forward. There'll be several videos on making these guitars. Not a lot of tutoring going on. I'm not a teacher, it's just more of a chronicalization of how these guitars are going together. I will be building again the pickups for these. I'll be using more of a standard pickup. I don't think I'm going to go with wood bobbins on these. I think I'm just going to go with standard bobbins and just wind a nice set of, definitely for the one that I'm building for myself, is going to have a set of PAF inspired pickups in it. And then I'll be talking to my friend to see what he wants in his, if he wants something a little bit hotter in the bridge or in the neck, and go from there. But again, it's what I got in store coming up, so I hope you'll tune in. Please, if you want to follow these builds, click like, click subscribe. That way you'll see as I move forward with these builds and how they turn out. I'm not going to edit out the mistakes. If I make a mistake, I'm going to show it. And then I'm going to show how I went around fixing it. Because this is a learning process for me as well. I learned so much doing my Great Guitar Build-Off. It was the first full finish that I ever really did, that I paid attention to, and you know, other than just a clear coat finish over the raw wood. So I learned a lot doing that. I learned a lot with building the wood bobbin pickups. Even though I've been building pickups for almost 1.5 years now, the wood bobbins were a learning experience. So I'll be doing that. Hardware, what I'm looking at is probably Hipshot tuners on both guitars, and I'm looking at a Schaller bridge for both guitars as well that I'm looking at for that. And I will be doing some extra things, like definitely on the back I'll be using a dovetail joint, I'm pretty sure, for the control cavity cover, and doing that with magnets similar to what I did with my Great Guitar Build-Off. Alright, so it is time to glue up the neck blank. What I'm doing is I'm actually doing a 5-piece neck on this guitar. Maple, walnut, maple, walnut, and maple. So here what I'm doing is I'm just gluing up the neck blank, making sure I got good glue coverage as I go over the neck blank and put all the pieces together. I'm only showing gluing up the first one that I did. I didn't video the second one. But what I found was on this first one, when I went to clamp it, everything wanted to slip and slide just a little bit with the glue. So what I ended up doing for the second one is I actually I dry fitted everything together, and then I drilled holes and put a dowel in each end of the neck blank before I glued it up. That way I could just stack the pieces on the dowels and nothing moved. because you can see how slippery it is as I'm moving it around there. And if you watch, you can see it kind of move a little bit as I put the clamp on. But in the end, it clamped up just fine. Here I am marking the center line on the body blank, and then aligning the template with that and tracing the outline of the template before I take it to the bandsaw. And just a quick cutout on the bandsaw. I'm using a 1/4 inch blade on this so I can get around most of the radiuses just fine. The throat of the bandsaw wasn't quite deep enough to do that whole piece right there. That's why I had to back out and come from the other side. But this is a jet 14-inch bandsaw, and it's got a nice 13-inch resaw capability, so when I start doing book match tops, I'll be able to do that with this bandsaw. It has the ability to do that. And after I cut the body blank out, I did take it to my spindle sander and smooth the edges up just a little bit to make it easier when I do the routing. Here I am going ahead and lining up the center line for the blistered maple top. This is a 1/4 inch thick top. Here I am gluing it together. Basically I just laid it down flat with some tape on the back, and then glued the surfaces and then tape on the front. And then I clamped it down on a board on one of the other body blanks, right on the glue seam to keep it straight to where the glue seam stuck together. And here I'm just cutting out the top. To glue the top onto the body, I use glue on that, but you can see right up near where the neck pocket will be, there is a hole. I did drill an index hole to where I drop a dowel through, installing it there. Put the top on, and then that way I just line up the back center line with it, and that way I know I'm lined up with my center line. And one thing you'll find when you're gluing up a body, you can never have enough clamps. And then I'm just using this across the top just to hold some uniform pressure across the top. All right, so first body is cut out. I've got the top glued on, the maple cap glued on it. Getting ready to, all it needs is the final routing to match the maple cap up with the body blank for a nice smooth edge. But I'm gonna wait until, because I'm doing 2 guitars at once, so I'm just gonna wait until I finish the second body to get it to this point, and then that way I can just set up the router once and do it both times. So now I'm getting ready to do the second body. Here's the top for it. Nice quilted maple top from Kimball Hardwoods. And here's the body blank glued up. I plan on using this as the back as it's a little bit more figured and got some nice grain to it and grain coloration. What we have left to do now is get the template. We'll go ahead and trace the outline on this body blank as well as on the maple top. We'll get the body blank cut and routed and then get the maple top glued on. That way it can cure, and then I can do the edge trim on both of the bodies at the same time to get the top in line. And here I am just marking up the center, the second blank. Just going through this rather quickly. Marked my center line on the blank. Now I'm tracing the outline of the body. And the same with my top, marking the center line on my top. Again, putting the template on, lining up the center lines. And then I went to the bandsaw and cut them both out. Just didn't feel like showing that as we'd already seen it once. So here we go, I'm just gluing up the second one. And again, I've got the dowel hole in the front. And again, line up the center line on the back of the body again, and then just clamp it down. Alright everybody, well that's pretty much it for this video. I think we got both the bodies glued up, and the first one routed almost to shape, and the second one is all clamped up and gluing. So the next video we'll finish up on the bodies, get those routed to final shape, and then we'll start working on the neck. So until next time, thank you very much. If you like what you see, please click like and subscribe, and until next time, take care.